On September 27, 2020, PG&E's failure to remove a hazard tree that they had marked for removal over 2 years prior fell and caused the devastating Zog fire. It quickly spread and consumed over 56,000 acres, destroyed over 200 structures, killed countless animals, injured numerous people, and killed 4. Fayla McLeod, 8 years old, Elena Rowe, 46 years old, Kenneth Vossen, 52 years old, and Karen King, 79 years old. All 4 of them were trying to flee the devastating fire. PG&E must change their practices to save lives. No other families should have to suffer the daily grief and the daily loss that those who mourn Fayla, Elena, Karen, and Kenneth must. It was my desire to criminally convict PG&E to accomplish this goal, to force the changes that need to happen in order to save lives. However, our course has recently changed directions. And it's changed directions because I'm unwilling to risk or to gamble the safety of our community. This past February, a local Superior Court judge, Judge Bachman, heard the preliminary hearing, several weeks of testimony of under oath witnesses, and at the conclusion of that hearing, he agreed with our office that PG&E should be criminally prosecuted and go to trial on the charges that we charged. We completely agree with that ruling. However, recently, PG&E has fought against that ruling, and we have a different judge who is assigned to review that and has issued a written tentative ruling that would prevent us from taking this case to a criminal trial and holding them criminally responsible. This decision has severely limited our abilities to accomplish the goal that we wanted through criminal prosecution. But we still need to make sure that we do everything we can to force the changes that need to occur with PG&E to keep our community safe. I have spoken at length with the surviving family members regarding this tentative ruling, as well as the resolution that I'm going to let you know about today, and they understand and agree. I must emphasize to you that I'm not going to take any risks or gamble with the safety of our community, and that is why we're here today with this announcement. We have reached a civil judgment with PG&E that would enhance fire safety in our community. It will provide the emergency preparedness that we need for any future fires. It will honor those that lost their lives in the fire, and it will provide for additional services in our community that are very much needed, not only during fires, but after fires. The need for all of this is right now. It's right now because we are going into fire season, and everything that I can do, everything I can force PG&E to do, or that I can give back to our community to make sure that we are ready to prevent fires and to respond to them when and if they happen, is a primary goal in the resolution of this case. We have reached a civil resolution against PG&E that does dismiss the criminal case and have entered a stipulated judgment which requires them to pay $50 million in contributions into our community, perform work commitments in our community that is overseen by our office to make sure that they are complying with those work commitments to keep our community safe, as well as public injunction to keep them to following the law, and that if they don't, we can enforce it swiftly under this judgment. I want to make sure that the ratepayers of PG&E understand that this $50 million does not come out of their pocket. As part of this resolution, we made sure that that entire price tag would be paid by PG&E, the corporation. You'll have a copy of this judgment after the press conference, so you can take a look at that in detail. It is filed with the Superior Court this morning and is being reviewed by the civil judge for final signature. However, I do have copies with that today, but I wanted to go over a few of the things so that you know right now what exactly it is that we came to resolution on. As I've mentioned, preventing future fires was very important. That was a goal not only of the first prosecuting, but now as part of this civil judgment. So as part of it, our goal is to ensure that PG&E does the work commitments in our community that they are required to do, such as undergrounding electrical wires, adding additional weather stations in our community. Weather stations are used to know when a power shutoff needs to occur. A power shutoff that, if had it occurred in this case, would have saved the lives of Fela, Elena, Kenneth, and Karen. But it didn't occur. We need more weather stations, and we're making sure we get those additional weather stations as part of this agreement to help prevent those future fires. We've also got them to make sure that they're removing the abandoned lines in our community, something that has created fires in other communities. We don't want that to happen here. And when they've marked a tree that is a hazard tree for removal, that they can't just go and change that and delist it and unmark it unless they have another person go out and inspect that tree, or a certified arborist goes and inspects it to make sure before it is taken off the list from removal that is proper to be taken off. Because it was taken off here without that being done, and we don't want that to happen in the future. There will also be wildfire mitigation and prevention through a donation to the Shasta County Fire Safe Council that will do stuff throughout the community as far as fuel treatment to reduce the fuels in our community and add fire breaks and what they can to help prevent future fires. There's a contribution to the local youth fire setters prevention program so that we can educate kids and those kids that have or are at risk of setting fires on the dangers of that to prevent that in our community. We've also made sure that we've increased the number of firefighters in our community. There's a significant donation not only to Shasta County Fire, Anderson Fire Department, Reading Fire Department, and other local agencies to increase the staffing. For example, 6 additional fire positions with Shasta County Fire, additional fire personnel for Anderson Fire Department, as well as Cottonwood Fire Department. We made sure that funding was going to our volunteer firefighters, firefighting stations, as well as our fire districts. We want to make sure that they not only have the staffing, but they have the funding to make sure that when and if there's another fire, they can rapidly respond and save lives. In the memory of the people who lost their lives, a contribution is going to go to the Jeremy Stoke Foundation to provide scholarships for firefighters, for people to go through the fire academy at Shasta College so that we have more firefighters in our community to fill those positions that we are making sure that we are adding. We wanted to make sure that we had contributions go to the different areas in our community that provide training and facilities, such as Shasta College, that are going to be able to expand the fire academy with additional land and additional training equipment that they need. We also have a local training center called SHIELD that's going to receive a contribution as well to ensure that that facility continues as our firefighters and our local law enforcement train there continuously to make sure that they're prepared and ready to protect our community. We want to make sure that when or if another catastrophic fire occurs or other emergency, that our local agencies have the resources they need. Our Shasta County Sheriff's Office do the initial response to most catastrophic incidents in our community. We're making sure that they have a new command center so that they're able to real-time be in connection with all the officers and firefighters out in the area and service our community better. It's going to provide for a new real-time video system that is going to make sure that critical incidents of officers and firefighters are getting aerial real-time information being down on the ground. That's called a TROL system. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is the honoring of the people that lost their lives in this fire. As I mentioned, that not only the contribution to the Jeremy Stoke Foundation, it was important for me to talk to the family members, and I did, to find out how we could not only honor their family, but remember them. And they came up with some great ideas that are not only going to help in emergencies, but are going to also honor the families. One of those is going to be a donation to Haven Humane so that they can purchase land and build a new evacuation center so that animals have a place to be evacuated to during any type of disaster. They currently have no room to house additional animals, and it's a real issue anytime we have a critical incident. That is going to be done in the memory of and honor of all 4 people who lost their lives in the fire, as well as the contribution to the Jeremy Stoke Foundation. There's also going to be a donation to the Ido Ono School where Fela attended, so they can create a new play structure that will have a memorial there in memory of Fela. And the school is ready and to do that, to remember and Fela and everything she was to everyone at that school. And there's going to be a donation that goes to our local Children's Legacy Center. They do wonderful work in our community for children, primarily, and families who go through horrific things, and certainly having to go through a wildfire, having to evacuate, having someone lose their life or injured, is something we need to make sure that the resources are there. We're going to establish a fund called Fela's Fund to make sure that those monies and services are there, not only during the disaster, but after, as well as additional money to the Children's Legacy Center, which the families will be involved in making sure that that is used in a way that honors the family, but also provides the services that our community very much needs at all times, and certainly during a time of disaster. So in conclusion, I want to emphasize that this resolution, it does not make me happy. It doesn't bring back the people who lost their lives. It's not going to bring back the people, their homes that they lost, the people that were injured. It doesn't do those things. Taking PG&E to trial and holding them criminally responsible was our goal, but as I've outlined, that is not something that we're going to be able to do. But it was my decision and our decision as an office to make sure we do everything we can to keep our community safe and to prevent any future fire and give the needed services into our community to do just that, and that is exactly what this criminal resolution does.